hey, people watching the show, we cuss a little bit here and there simply because we're just talking like old friends. So if curse words offend your ears or ears around, like possibly put in headphones or listen to us in a private location, because this is what we do. Welcome to Reef Beef. My name is Ben.
My name is Rich.
And today we're going to have, or we do have, Tami Rose, one of the OG beefers ever on this planet, as our guest. And we're going to talk about building aquarium stands out of inappropriate materials. We're going to talk about feeding herbivores. And, and number 3, what is it, Rich?
We're going to talk about annoying people with their tests.
All right. So right off the bat, Tami,
what's going on?
I consider you like an OG beefer because Rich and I met you at an Aquashella, and right away you were like, I love your show, but that's when we had like you and 4 other people listening to us.
Yep, we met Tami in person. In Orlando in 2021 in February.
Yep.
It was like the first show we went to as COVID seemed to be slowing down, terrified wearing masks at the Gaylord in Florida, which always makes me laugh. And we hung the fuck out with Tami, and it was awesome.
Which in all uncandidness, like I like people, but I'm just saying, like, for just a stranger to come out of the woodworks and to be around me for the entirety of a day, that can be exhausting if it's not a good fit. And I shit you not, Tami, like all day long I was like, where's Tami? If you weren't there, I was like, this works. So
it's because I gave you my purple dick.
Yeah, I had a little purple keychain that she gave me that I put on the front of my pants. So
remember the night of that show, and then that all those religious people were running around like little pigeons? It was so weird.
Right as the Aquashella was ending, or it was like at the same time, that venue was having some like a preacher conference.
It was a preacher. That's right. They were all preachers, and something let out, and all of a sudden there was all these preachers all over the place.
Oh,
it was
everywhere,
weird,
and their fake ass spouses with like giant hairdo, like it was still 1988. That was insane.
Yeah. It didn't feel like they were there to do good works.
That was fun, and it'd be hard to convey it for the show, but it was like me, you, and Tami, and a couple other people, and we were sort of in the shadows because it was very dark in that hotel at that spot, and we were sort of like doing these voiceovers for what the people were saying. That was hilarious. Yeah, there was just all this movement to and fro of all these preacher people,
and it sure looked like they were all trying to hook up for the night. It certainly did not look like they were going to pray. They were going to go grab ass.
Oh, they were going to yell Jesus, that's for sure.
Oh, Jesus! Oh
yeah. A few were definitely in the bar hooking up. I saw that. I saw a few in the bathroom. I did not want to get in that.
Why did you ever care about us, and what do you do in reefing?
Okay, so when I got involved in the saltwater side, because I've been doing freshwater since I was a kid, but I got into the saltwater side and I started trying to learn as much as I can because I hyper obsess, because that's what Pisces people do. We hyper obsess on one subject until we just can't get enough of it. And I started reading articles, and your stuff I came across a lot. And then all of a sudden, like, you kind of were intertwined in everything. And then when all the stuff with Reef2Reef happened, then I was like, whoa, I freaking love this guy. He's my man crush Monday. And that's kind of how you got on my radar, right? And then, you know, this tall guy shows up with you. I mean, he's pretty good looking, but he's kind of goofy.
So when the Reef2Reef thing happened, how long had you been in reefing?
That That was what, near Christmas 2020.
Yeah.
So it's before COVID, and I had just gotten into the reefing side 17, late 17.
I think it was
2017?
Christmas 2019.
Well, September 2019 was my first MACNA, and I went to that because I watched Mark's live streams, Mark Levinson, and I was like, oh, I'm off this weekend, I'm gonna go, because I took the weekend off because of the hurricane that I knew wasn't coming, but I was gonna go anyway.
You were at that MACNA?
I was.
Shit, we didn't even know you then.
Nope, nobody knew me.
Did you stay? Because we obviously, all of us stayed. We didn't give a shit if it was a hurricane or not.
I mean, I lived just down the street, so I just drove each day there, but I didn't know anyone. I didn't know about the social stuff.
Dude.
I didn't know about the meetups. I just drove there, hung out, went home, and did it again the next day. I know, and I didn't even go on Friday because I actually worked Friday. But yeah, I was there the whole time, didn't know anyone. The people I made friends with off the bat were Steve Berlin. That's how I fell in love with CJ.
Yeah. He's cool.
Yeah, I was with him like half the freaking show, I think. And then Paula Carlson, because she's just an awesome, amazing person.
Oh, so cool.
Pretty great.
So
Can you tell us, for the beefers who may not know, what happened with Reef2Reef?
Oh, there's so much that happened, because I think there was 3 of us that originally got kind of edited. I think it was Ethan that had posted that he was looking for other, LGBTQ members of the reefing community. And his post got edited and attacked. A few of mine after that did, because I kind of went on there and was like, why are you changing stuff? And then I posted like some big long post, and literally they edited it down from like, I don't know, like maybe 4 paragraphs, which is long for their website, down to like 2 lines. And I was just
Truncated.
like, come on. Like, and it just kept going back and forth.
Why were they editing your posts?
Because LGBTQ was in there. I put there that I was looking for other LGBTQ reefers, because once I saw his post get edited, I'm like, well, I'm going to poke the bear.
Wait,
And
I didn't even know that. That's gross. I never knew that. Removing your post is one thing, but they went in and like changed what your post was.
Yes.
That's super weird.
Yeah. And I tried to contact certain people about it, and I got no responses. And I was like, okay, well, I'll just keep poking and posting comments here and there. And then finally I just got put on mod approval, which I'm still to this day on mod approval, which I think is hilarious. But I think it's also funny because my name on Reef2Reef was completely different than TruckerTami. It was like Ink Girl, because I'm tattooed, obviously.
Yeah.
And a month ago, someone had pinged the post about rainbows that's on there. And I went to go look at it, and it was like, you're not logged in. And I was like, well, yeah, no crap. Well, I tried to log in, and it said that my password was wrong. And I was like, what? So then, just for shits and giggles, I put my username as TruckerTami, and that let me log in. So somebody changed my username, which I think is quite interesting. I'm not going to mention any names, but I've had a face-to-face meeting with a certain moderator from that site in an LFS when I lived in Lakeland, Florida, and he wanted to talk about it. And I was like, you really don't want to talk to me about this, because whatever you have to say means zilch to me, because I know who you are. I know what you do. I know your background. I've studied you because I wanted to know who you were, because I know you're the one that moderated my crap. And he was like, no, it's not even like that. And I was like, I don't want to sit here and have this argument. And my ex, who was with me at the time, she was just sitting there like getting all irritated. So then I started getting impassioned about it. And I was just like, we're not going to back down. What you guys are doing is wrong. And I just kind of went off on him, to the point of, he didn't want to come to our Reef Club meetings. We just started a Reef Club, and he didn't want to come to the meetings because he was terrified that I was going to be there. So I was like, no, you can come to the meetings. I'm not going to start drama. Just don't talk to me about the subject. Well, another person in the Reef Club and I would purposely sit right next to him and talk as loud as we could about anything that had to do with gay and lesbian and transgender, just to watch him just, because I'm pretty sure that person is in the closet. Just saying.
When I got wind of that they were editing posts and deleting posts, and that bothered me because they had done the same thing to me a year or two before about atheist. I put a post about Ask the Atheist. Like I had decided I'm going to try to engage with the Reef2Reef community. It's a big community. I'll try to be part of it instead of being grumpy at it. Right. And so, and one of the things that makes me grumpy about it is the religion. So I thought, oh, you know, they probably have never actually talked to an atheist. So I've done this before on forums, you know, ask the atheist. What do you want to know? And, you know, I'm not going to fight with you about anything. I'm just going to, you ask me a question, I'll answer it. And there was nothing contentious in that at all. It was like, you know, why don't you believe this? This is why. There was no back and forth. There was no name calling. There was nothing. And they just deleted the thread. It just disappeared. And I got into some discussions with them going, I don't understand. And, you know, then I was told it just goes against what they, you know, they are there to bring God to the reefing world. And I was like, well, you know, and then a year or whatever went by, and I was trying again to, can I be part of this community? And then all this LGBTQ stuff started, and it was like, and basically what it is in a nutshell, the problem was they allow posts like women in reefing and do you like to barbecue and the Mandalorian, yeah. Right? But an hey, who else is fans of the Mandalorian? Who else is a woman? Who else is LGBTQ? That's not okay. Everything else is okay. And they went through, you know, it's off topic. It's like you allow all this off topic stuff, and it was in the lounge and nobody's doing anything bad.
Off
like,
well, it's not the right excuse.
Then it was like, right. And then it was like, well, it's sexual. It's like, you're making it sexual. It's no more sexual than women in reefing. You know, no one's really, it's not a Reef2Reef is not a space for LGBTQ to hook up to fuck. It's just not.
But you know, not to verge off on the political thing, but that is weird when you talk about LGBTQ plus, and then people attach sexuality with that, which is crazy because if you take straight or cisgender, whatever you want to call it, and it's like we don't really talk about like just saying that sexuality is attached to that. That's super weird.
Yeah, no, it's the whole thing is weird, right? It's exactly the same as Spider-Man fans who reef. There's nothing weird happening. It's so dumb, and they won't back down. They still won't back down.
Honestly, if it's just a forum, it's just people trying to find commonality, and that's peaceful thing. I don't see. Yeah. You know, none of this had to happen.
Yeah, and there was a big exodus, right? A lot of people left. Some other forums started, and then we started this podcast, and it was one of the reasons to start the podcast. It was like, no one, you know, this is going to get disappeared because that's what happens. That forums are just grind forward. They don't care what's underneath the wheels, right? And we were like, fuck that. Let's see what's under the wheels.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any room for anyone to treat anybody like that.
No.
I mean, we can be mad at people for their shitty aquarium. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But for who they like to love, that's ridiculous.
In 1, 2. Oh, wait, hold on.
SaltwaterAquarium.com, Saltwater Aquarium, has been with us since nearly the beginning. We love them to death. They have a bunch of new things right now, though. They have ORA. They have ORA livestock, fish, and invertebrates that they brought in into their house. So you can order livestock from ORA from them, which is captive bred stuff. You always want to support that. Dude, they have a new thing right now. If you spend over $100, they send you a 15-ounce beer stein. I'm dead serious.
With beer in it.
Yes, put beer in it and drink it.
A 15-ounce. That's funny. I like
15-ounce beer stein. But they have so many programs right now. You get points when you order. You get points when you make a profile on their website. You get points for your first order. You get points for they still have discounts for military, for healthcare workers, stuff like that. They have 3 locations across the United States. That's how they can get packages to you so quick. They have
They've got, you can get their cleanup crew. They keep
Yeah.
them in-house and they keep them in fishless and coralless systems. So you shouldn't be getting any parasites coming in with them. And I know I said another show or two ago that I needed to make an order, and I do, because I really liked how they shipped and how they arrived. I liked the size of the animals and I liked how they were packed. So yeah, I like that.
And it's not a giant company. It's a family-owned company, but it's big enough. As a matter of fact, today I use a ton of Tropic Marin all for Reef, and I texted Kenneth, the owner, and said, how can I get more of this? So he's contacting Lou Eckes to find out how I can get more. You can't really get that from a larger company. He's going to go find this out for me.
Yeah. And they do, if you're like Ben, they have wholesale accounts that you can use instead of the retail accounts.
I'm sorry, use our URL down below when you go to them, so it, you know, it tells them that you've come to them from us. And when you order, go in the comments section and say like, Reef Beef told me to order, or I wouldn't even order from you if it wasn't for Reef Beef. You know?
Do that. Check them out. saltwateraquarium.com.
In 1, 2. Oh, wait, hold on.
Now, when we met you, you lived in Florida and now you're in Washington?
Yes, I am in Seattle.
And do you have any tanks at the moment?
Currently, I do not.
Fair enough, because
I just live vicariously through the other 2 tanks that are in this house right now.
awesome. And if you could set up a tank right now, what would you do? Not no holds barred, you know, something reasonable. If you were like, you're like, okay, I'm living here for the next 10 years. I got space. What would you do? Because you've been around, you know shit.
I would probably do what I had in Florida. I would have another 75. I just like the footprint of it. And another 40 breeder just to mess around with. That was my experiment tank. Since I started that one by following bad advice and it just went all to crap. So that's where I tested things and tried to figure things out. And my 75 was just as immaculate as I could make it and just letting things survive. And if they died, you know, people freak out. I'm so frustrated with people freaking out. Oh my God, I've got this one coral that's dying, and they hit me up and they're crying, it seems like. And it's like, hold on. Tell me, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? What is happening? Well, everything seems fine. And I was like, okay, well, if everything seems fine, then that one coral, it sucks at life.
Right. If you got 90 corals in your tank and one's going bad, relax. It's the same with kids. If you got like 4 kids and one's dying, you're fine.
Exactly. Throw it in a ditch.
I know I don't mean to sound flippant, but you know, after so many years of doing this, of course, you know, I try to see what's going on, but do you know the amount of time that I spend freaking out about a coral that I saw that died? It's just me going, ugh, and then popping it off, throw it in the trash.
Yeah.
I move on. Now, again, this is a thing that Richard and I have talked about before, is you've got a euphilia that decided to just shit the bed, you know, and a bunch of heads are dying. Like, oh my God, call my friends. What's going on? What's happening? Okay. Do any other corals look bad? If the rest of the tank looks fine, I mean, what are you going to do? It's a box full of delicate things. Some things shit the bed. I'm not saying, especially if you're newer at this, to not sort of go through the paces and try to figure out things, but.
Well, you know what it is? It's like, if you come upon, you know, a bunch of people, their boat is capsized and you don't know how to swim, don't get in the water, right? Don't become a victim.
Another victim.
It's the same with corals. It's like, if they're all fine except for the one, don't fuck around with the tank, right? Everything else is fine. Don't change anything, because now you're risking everything else. This is terrible. The lifeboat analogy doesn't work at all. You know, if you want to mess around with that one coral that's dying or not doing well, remove it from your tank and put it somewhere else and mess with it there, because your tank's doing fine.
Tami, how long have you been reefing in total?
I switched over to saltwater in 2017, but I started getting coral in 2019. I kind of did the 2 years with just a Fowler tank and just to figure out my water testing and all of that and just make sure I could keep fish alive, saltwater fish alive. I could keep freshwater, except for apparently German rams, because that's what made my transition, because I was keeping German rams and they kept dying and I got frustrated and I
That
went
can
to
be a
the,
little.
yeah, I went to the LFS and I was just like, dude, I don't know. Like, are you guys getting bad batches? What's going on? And he was like, you know, let me test your water. And he's using like 20-year-old API test kits. And I'm just like, my mind is blown. And I kind of was walking around and I looked at this tank with these $500 clownfish in it. And I was just like, they look like little Jersey made cows. I was like, I walked up to him, was like, I want to change this tank to a saltwater tank. What do I do? And he's like, all right, here we go. And he gave me rock and he gave me salt water. He said, here's sand, go home and set it up. I went home and set it up. And then I went back the next day and I said, now what I do? He goes, you wait. I said, okay.
Good.
That's good.
And I waited. And
That's
then
good.
a month and a half later, I went back and got a pair of clowns, like everyone, it seems, that starting out does. And that's where it started. Clowns and then wrasse and firefish.
And you called them Nemos.
Actually, I called them Penny and Wise.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
And if you were setting up the tank now, the 75 again, what are like the top 2 or 3 things you would do differently with what you've learned since then?
Well, I definitely would be using live rock, because dry rock sucks, in my opinion. I know there's a way to do it. I would rather just get live rock.
But
Fair
where is
enough.
live rock available?
Pests
anymore?
are not as pestly as people say they are.
Well,
It's part of
then
the
there is,
ecosystem.
you can get good live rock from KP Aquatics out of Florida.
Oh, did they do that thing where they're leasing a part of the
Yep.
ocean? And okay.
Yes.
Yep. So you can get it. And Unique is bringing in some rock from Australia.
Mhm.
But, you know, I don't care about, you know, when we save live rock, I just really want it to be seasoned for a few months in water.
Yes.
But I want to hear what you were saying about pests and live rock.
Pests are not as pestly as people think they are. It's so frustrating. Like even when I first started, I grew up on sport fishing boats. I grew up around the ocean, around rocks and jetties, and all this stuff has a place in the ecosystem. If a few things are pissing you off, then deal with them appropriately. Don't just nuke the whole tank because, oh my God, there's aptasia. I mean, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And I'm sorry, but most people do not dip their corals that I personally know. And I'm not going to call anyone out, but then there's a few of us that are neurotic, like Scott. I love Scott. We're both neurotic. Yes.
Yes.
I am very much into dipping. That's why in that 75-gallon tank, there was never what anyone would consider a pest, because I was so neurotic about it. You know, and it's just like, you know, if I had to have, if something looked shady, I put it in the other tank, or I put it in a quarantine tank, because that's how I was going to observe it. And I understand not everyone can do that, but then don't buy the animal. These are animals. Quit buying things you do not need to buy. I'm sorry. Like, I know some people, they just want to collect things. Oh, it's Pokemon. It's Pokemon. No, you don't need to fill your tank up. Let it grow in. I mean, it's hard for me to say that when you look at videos of my 75, because there was a lot in there, but it was just stuff that I acquired because I just had too good of luck with raffles. And I was like, oh, look, a raffle, I'll buy an entry. And then I won it. I mean, you know, and if it was something I didn't want to keep, I found it a good home. I mean,
Tami, no one would know that unless they know you, but you've got one of those weird things about raffles. I don't know if you're paying people off, but you're one of those people that like converts on raffles.
Yeah. Well, if you look at the videos of that 75-gallon, 80 to 90% of those corals were all raffle wins.
And the equipment too.
Most of the equipment, yeah. Two of my MP10s were raffle wins. I've won 2 AP9Xs.
That's not cheap equipment.
Recently. No, the AP9Xs, you have them in boxes ready to go, right?
I have one, because one was when I was in Florida. One I won in Florida at one of those shows.
Gotcha.
And then, yes, in the next room, I have an AP9X brand new in the box. And I also have a Refi Duo Extreme brand new in the box that I won in a free raffle at the PNW Mass meeting 2 months ago. Yeah,
Dude, you got most of the stuff to set up a reef tank.
I do. I still have my skimmer. I still have auto top offs. Yeah, I need a sump. I need a sump in a glass box and some power heads.
Hey, Tami, you're on our Discord.
Yes, I am.
What do you think about it?
I think it's pretty awesome. I was hesitant to join another social media, but I think heck, I'm on there almost as much, if not more, than I am on Facebook now. And everyone knows I'm like Facebook whore.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's how I keep up with everyone. Because I mean, being a truck driver is, most people are probably like TruckerTami. They think I drive a truck, like a pickup truck, right? Which I do. But I'm actually a truck driver. I drive an 18-wheeler. I've been doing it for 19 years. Being gone on the road all the time, that was the best way for me to keep up with all of my friends all over.
Do you do it while you're driving?
No, that's illegal.
I know.
That's a $10,000 fine to the company I work for and a $2,800 fine to me.
Is it really?
Yes,
Like
if you get
texting while
caught.
driving?
If you get caught with your phone in your hand at all.
Wow.
Does your truck have like a sleeping cabin in it?
My current truck, no, because I'm just local here in Seattle now, but I used to have one with a big giant sleeper and
Water
big
bed.
bed. Yeah, almost a water bed. I had the one I had was a big old Kenworth, big old studio sleeper. So it had right behind the seat was a couch, and you could like do sit-ups and push-ups. There was so much floor space in it. Then the bunk was up top. I had a full-size refrigerator in there. I mean, I had my hot plate. I was cooking in the truck. I mean, I was camped out everywhere I went.
And did you have a guy in a Firebird who would drive in front of you and call you on the CB and let you know if the Smokies were out?
Only in California.
And he'd roll his cigarettes up in his shirt sleeve.
Yes, definitely. I don't know if I can do that now. This shirt's kind of loose. I can't really roll it up. I got my pack right there, but
Yeah. You grease.
and I figured I'm wearing my Beetlejuice shirt today just for you guys.
Fantastic.
Beetlejuice.
I was gonna be a shill and put like a saltwater aquarium shirt on, but
But there's only so far you'll shill.
Yeah.
I'll shill any day for saltwateraquarium.com. They're the
So
best.
Richard,
In 1, 2. Oh, wait. Hold on.
Richard, this show is powered by PolypLab. So PolypLab. You know what? One thing I really like about PolypLab's lineup, I like their little gluelets. They have them in either like a little cardboard box right there. They even have like a little see-through barrel that has a whole bunch of them in there. But
yeah, they call that the grenade.
Yeah, these are these little super glue, but they're little packages. I like it because to me that's about 2 frags. If you're doing 2 frags, right there, and it's sort of good because on bigger containers of super glue, I end up mucking up the tip. There's no way before I'm done with the big thing I muck up the tip. So I like these little gluelets. You can, by the time you use it off, it's no big deal for the little tip. I've even glued my mouth shut with one once.
Gluelets. This is the super glue, the premium super glue from PolypLab. Go check it out. Let us know what you think about it.
In 1, 2. Oh, wait. Hold on.
So, I come into a situation and I see someone has a lot of tangs, and I'll ask that, they have nori sheets, and like, oh, how often do you feed the tangs? And people will always tell me, oh, like once a week or a couple times a week. Okay, so in my head, this is an herbivore, and I know from other animals that herbivores have longer intestinal tracts because, and like that thing we learned as a kid, like an elephant eats 90% of the day because it's complicated for an intestinal system to pull out the nutrients from vegetable material, whereas carnivores like gorge and then do nothing for 4 days and then gorge. So that was just always my thinking, and I always put a sheet of nori in there every fucking day for an herbivore is what I always thought, is what I always tell people. And it seems like Richard maybe thinks differently.
Well, I think that's a great first thought. that's what I've been calling back of the napkin thinking. What I'd want to do now is find out if any of that stuff you just said actually holds true.
Okay.
Because I'll tell you, I don't feed nori ever. It's just one of those things that I stopped doing years ago because I don't care. Because when I stopped, I saw no difference. Sometimes there's some nori in some of the LRS that I feed, but I'm not, and they don't seem to care. When I was dropping it in, it was like, I would, find it, all gooey anyway, uneaten. And theirs seem fine. My herbivores seem fine. I know they're eating a lot of algae because I'm growing a lot of algae. So I think in maybe you're right though, but I'd like to see it supported before I start telling people that they should be buying stuff to feed their things more often. Because the tanks don't eat nori in the wild.
Okay.
But
at least it's in the ballpark.
Well, yeah, but so maybe it's got something to do with, tanks that when people start like a sterile tank and they think algae is bad and they're trying to stop all natural growth of everything at all costs because they want to keep their rock white or whatever they
would think like, oh, if I feed them nori, they're going to ignore the algae that's growing on my rock.
Some people do think that. That's crazy. When we used to try to quarantine fish at the Steinert, when Matt and I were doing it, when we could do our own stuff, our thing was that you feed them everything, just get them eating. It doesn't matter what they eat. And once they start eating, then they eat more things. The idea of I'm not going to feed them anything so they eat the one thing I want them to eat, that never really holds up. That's another back of the napkin. I need a better phrase because it's not really what it is.
I like the back of the napkin.
It's because it's a first thought. It's the first thought, and it doesn't.
It's like
ever
a thought
move
experiment versus where Richard's just saying, and that thought experiment is cool.
Absolutely.
Show me the science.
Well, show me some evidence, right? Again, whenever this comes up, I want to go. I'd love to see peer-reviewed science on everything. We're not going to. So what I want to see is, I want to see whatever evidence we have, and then decide if I find that compelling or not.
Well, just when I go out there, I see, and take over a tank, like I usually see everyone overdoes tangs. That's a pet peeve of mine. I suppose you could put me, I sort of have 1 foot in the Tang Police because everyone overtangs it.
Why?
Everyone overtangs it because I always see sick tangs all the fucking time.
But what is it about tangs that are making people buy them?
I guess their personality, their color, I wonder if it's because, oh, well, this thing eats algae, so by God, we need that in here. And then they put 6 of them in there. But so what I see when I take over tanks is sick tangs that are harassing each other.
Yeah.
That are possibly not eating enough vegetable material, that are missing fins, have head and lateral line erosion, are fighting each other while I'm talking to the client. And it's like, first off, don't put fucking 6 tangs in a 200-gallon.
Yeah, that sounds like it's more of a social problem than a nutritional problem.
I see that every fucking day.
That's terrible. I had to move one of my yellow tangs the other day because I needed that tank to be without that kind of fish.
Yeah.
And I was gonna put it in my reef. And I sat here for 10 minutes going, well, there's a Coley tang in there. Do I want to deal with this?
So wait, by their grazing, way that they do stuff, they would accidentally like eat up coral babies?
There was a report, it was Tim Morrissey when he was doing Palmata years ago.
Tim's awesome.
Oh, it was either Tim Morrissey or it was Justin Zimmerman. It's one of the two of them. Tim was at Henry Dorley and Justin's at SeaWorld in Orlando. And it must have been Justin. He put a rabbit fish in with the settled coral, and it would go, and it just ate all the settled corals.
Yeah.
So I don't know if a yellow tang would or wouldn't, but I'm not going to take that risk. The same reason I moved the multi-bar angel out of there too. I was like, I don't want this to be a thing. I thought about putting the multi-bar in my tank, and I went, You know what we've been talking about on the show is just leave it fucking alone. I don't want to deal with fish aggression in my display this month, so I'm not putting new fish in it, except for a bangeye. But anyway,
Tami, you were shaking your head a lot when I was talking, so you see it too. You see people fucking overtanging stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I have some friends in Florida that with 75-gallon tank with like 4 tanks in it. And I'm like, none of those even belong in there. Just stop. The only tanks obviously I have experience in my tanks with were like Tominis and bristles, you know, just small stuff, because I don't want to buy a fish that I need to get rid of in 2 months.
Yeah.
There's no point. I don't care how many people are just like, oh, well, you can have it for a little bit. I don't care. Put it in the tank that it's meant, tank size it's meant to be in, and be done with it.
Well, I
Period.
also sometimes get annoyed when people do the same genus, too
Yes.
much of the same genus. So it's like you got like 3 zebrasomas, and you know, I always see this. People are like, "Oh, they're fine," and I see it, it's fine, and I see it a year later, and one just decided to tear ass on all the other ones.
you know, the tank, I think you're probably right. It's probably people thinking more herbivores are better. But
And then they fight each other.
But you gotta, you know, I never do that. I never put more tanks. You know, they get big and they need a lot of space. I think we're generally lucky, you know, even with the small ones, the small-ish ones. All right, so I've got a new found respect for the Tang Police. I think they're right. You know, we're mad at people who buy panther groupers and put it in a 10-gallon tank, right? We don't see that happen anymore. Why the fuck are we seeing people put too many tangs in a, you know, they're not going to
all over the place.
They're not going to reach
someone that you know makes calls, troubleshoots every day. Every fucking person tangs the fuck out of it.
They're not going to you're not going to rehome it. You're not going to share it. You're not going to get a bigger tank. Stop it.
But into their thing, and this is why I'm always such a mixed bag on LFSs, because you know my whole life I've heard support your LFS, and it's just like at the same time LFSs are frustrating because you know to this noob aquarist they've got the tanks. Well, you know some of this shit has been pushed on them by the LFS.
Yeah, it's bad when you go to the LFS and there's 14-year-old me there. And I'm giving you the best information.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with the store.
That's funny, Richard, because that was me too back in the days.
Yeah.
The
like,
punk ass kid that was telling you something that everyone else was like, don't listen to that motherfucker.
Yeah. Stupid.
Sorry, you should have listened to me.
So what should we do to people who have too many tanks?
Man, you got to try to get some of them out. It's not going to fix itself.
Oh, I was going to say we should beat those people with a pipe.
Oh, yeah.
Knock a motherfucker out.
Knock a motherfucker out. It's like if you have too many tangs, the ghost of Tami will visit you and knock a motherfucker out.
Hey, can we talk about that real quick?
Uh-oh.
God,
We talked about it on the show, so it's already out there. It's not a new, it's not new information that
at Milwaukee,
motherfucker.
Macna, it was late at night. There was a guy that was like a homeless guy that was having too much fun in front of the hotel and was doing lewd comments towards a friend of Tammy's. And Tami, by God, Tami walked, and this is like this big stout guy. She walked his ass around the hotel and scared him off. And when we were telling Tami, hey, like, leave him alone because this is just a convention. You're my friend. We don't want to be bailing you out of jail and all that. But Tami was bound and determined to knock a motherfucker out. Well, then Tami goes over to the bus stop at nighttime looking for him. And a guy jams his hand in her pocket and said, hey, bitch. And she cold cocked him. And we didn't believe her. And we saw the ambulance like taking some dude away at the bus stop. Tami,
Yeah, that was the following night. That was the following night.
We don't condone the violence, but
no,
we sure enjoy
don't
it.
stick your hands in someone's pants, though.
Yeah. I'm a lover, not a fighter, but don't mess with my friends and don't take my money because I don't have money as it is. So just stay out of my wallet. I need my $3.
I mean, I don't condone violence either, but when you stick your hands in someone's pants and say, "Hey, bitch," that's called cause and effect.
Yeah, unless you've arranged it beforehand and agreed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Everyone's got a kink.
In 1, 2. Oh, wait, hold on.
Hey, Richard, Champion Lighting has been around since before I've been reefing. They've been around for a very long time. They're up in the East Coast, Northeast Coast, and they've been around for forever. They do have several lines that no one else has right now, like Captivate. It's a whole line of foods, of amino acids, of trace elements, all sorts of stuff. So check out, it's Captivate with an 8. You got anything to say about that line?
I'm eagerly awaiting the samples to come. They've got some foods that I'm really eager to try and add into my feeding regimen. They look really good. I can't say much till I see them. And then I'm really looking forward to the CTAC adhesive that they have coming out. And hopefully we'll get some of both of those soon to play with. And if you're looking for weird stuff, Champion Lighting is a good place to look for stuff you can't find other places. They got a lot of stuff.
Yep. Go check them out. Also, too, if you're on the East Coast there, they get packages to you, I think, within 1 to 2 days. So on that part of their deal. So check out championlighting.com.
In 1, 2. Oh, wait, hold on.
There are so many companies out there, for real, and it blows my mind, that make stands out of inappropriate materials.
Okay.
It's happened in the past and it still happens right now.
So this is my beef. I'm so pissed. Sanjay Joshi got a new tank, and one of the things that came is a non-particle board stand. And we've talked about my particle board stand, and I was looking at it the other day. And so the problem is, look, I'm fucking mad at whoever thought particle board stands were a good idea and that we should sell them to people. That is the fucking stupidest, most horriblest, snake oily ripoff bullshit ever, right?
And Richard, just because I have experience of this, they charge as if this is solid oak.
Right. So they're getting the money for it, and so the problem with the particle board stand is when the particle board gets wet, it expands, right? And it loses strength. And so, I don't know, maybe it's not a good thing to put water on top of. And they were like the shit, when I set up my tank 20 years ago or whatever, it was like, that was the cutting edge, was like the red mahogany stand. And what's fucking funny is the canopy was fucking not particle board. The goddamn stand is particle board.
The support.
And so I'm looking at it the other day, just going, I was like, oh, I'm actually pissed off about this. This is if you were making stands and you are pushing out particle board stuff for anything bigger than a 30-gallon tank, I could see that. You want it to be as cheap as possible to get in. But anything bigger, you're just a jackass. You're a bad person. You're a bad person, and you should get coal for Christmas, and you should get coal cocked for New Year's.
Now, there's the thing of them saying, well, we got to make a buck. That's not excusable. Oh, people wouldn't buy these stands if they were made out of solid oak. But you don't sell someone stands made out of egg cartons,
right?
No matter fucking what.
Right. And it was really, I could have built my own. A 2x4 stand is better than particle board, right?
Solid wood.
2x4 sheeted with a fucking 1/4 inch of bullshit, I'm okay with.
I'm not even in love with, there's some people that make stands out of plywood, because ply in a humid situation can delaminate. I've seen that. Takes longer than particle board, but it's still there.
So it's and that's all we had. And it had a what's it called when you put something, it's faced with something? Oh shit.
Oh, a veneer.
A veneer, like my teeth. A veneer of plastic or whatever. And so I may not even have known it was particle board. I think I expected it not to be particle board. And once I set it up, I was like, what the fuck is this?
And these
So,
were
yeah.
big companies doing this too.
That's all the companies. I don't know.
Remember
Are they still doing
Aquarium?
it? They must still be doing it.
There's still companies that do it.
The press board is cheap, and most people, well, I don't know. Okay, so a lot of people only have their tank up for a year. So why? Why
It could
spend
be part of it.
why spend more money? But man, if you're selling someone a 150-gallon tank, I think you
It's
want a
just
good
an
stand.
inappropriate material.
It's an
no matter what.
inappropriate. That's exactly right. If I were doing it today, I would do 80-20 aluminum. I had such a good experience with the stuff behind me here. It's a little spendy, but you can't, this is just kind of new, and this stuff is
put
just
that up.
naked aluminum. I didn't have it powder coated or anything. If I had an extra couple weeks and thought about it more, I would have powder coated them black. And then they'd be good forever. I mean, but as they are, they're good forever. This is so much better. Plus, it comes in pieces so you can move it in and out of your house. Where a big particle board stand, you need to hire 15 people to come and try to pick it up and move it around and put it in place. It's a pain in the ass.
In my world, which this is sort of uber expensive, but in my world, I'll get a big tank. I'll get the stand, the steel stand.
Yeah.
And then I have a carpenter, my uncle, and my uncle comes in and does like pure mahogany or oak or whatever, and does a whole like $10,000, $15,000 build out over the steel stand. But
that's a great way to go. Or you just get some fucking paneling and some magnets.
yeah. Like there's, I mean, I guess I could call them out for doing good, but like Cade Aquarium.
Yeah, Cade is doing better stands than other places.
Aluminum and glass and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Epoxy panels, something like that.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's a good thing. Inappropriate material. So no, but I was just gonna say, once I found out, I thought, well, I'll upgrade it when I upgrade the tank. But it might be 20 years before you upgrade the tank. And even though we reinforced my stand, there's always a chunk of my brain going, oh boy.
Yeah, we reinforced the fuck out of it though.
Oh boy. Yeah. So if you're a new person, fucking get a good stand. And if you're an older person, a seasoned reefer going for a bigger system, spend the money on the damn stand.
For sure.
And do the Mark Levinson thing where he has a shelf that you can attach to the stand so you can stand on it.
Well, that's
You have
super
to
wicked,
bring a
man.
ladder out.
Yeah. That's super cool guy stuff.
Don't do anything else Mark says, but that.
Yeah.
In 1, 2. Oh, wait, hold on.
Hey, beefers. Ben and I just want to look into your eyes for a minute and tell you how much we appreciate you. Thank you, baby. You're the best beefers ever. No, we really do appreciate you. This show would be a lot different if it wasn't for you guys. It would just be me and Ben on the phone, which would be less fun for both of us. Although there would be fewer pants.
Yeah, I'm voyeuristic. I like it to know that people are watching.
Yeah. So thank you for supporting us, for smooshing like, and for sharing the show around, and for becoming a member and buying some merch and being part of the Discord. We dig it. It's really cool for us, and we got some plans. So thank you for the support, and hopefully we'll be doing some bigger things in the near future. Thank you so much, beefers. Go to our website. It's linked down below. I think it's reefbeefpodcast.com. So check it out. Thank you so much.
In 1, 2. Oh, wait, hold on.
So I got one. We got one more thing, yeah?
Yeah.
The beef is people test their tanks and they come up with 0 nitrate and phosphate, and they go, but this is wrong. It's not 0 because there's algae, and the algae has to be taking up using the phosphate and the nitrate before I can test for it.
I'm gonna shut up. I want Tami to talk.
Yeah, I want to hear what Tami says.
Oh, as somebody who had a tank full of algae with 0 nitrate and 0 phosphate, that's a crock of shit. Because it's all biomass. I mean, when you rip the algae out, it's not going to come back into the water column. it's not there.
Yeah,
And
it's sequestered.
yeah, and people who sit there and say that if your phosphates are too high or your nitrates are too high or they're not in this perfect balance, you're going to be full of algae. My 75 gallon ran with what most people consider out of control, which is mind boggling. I kept my nitrate between 15 and 25. My phosphate was 0.15 to 0.26, sometimes 0.3. And it was hard pressed to find a speck of algae. Every once in a while, like literally a patch of bryopsis the size of an eraser head and some bubble algae. And when I saw the bryopsis, I mixed some putty up and I smothered it out and it was gone. But that thing was high nutrient compared to what these newer people like in my range of experience, you know, they want this ultra low nutrient thing. And I'm still hearing it. I know that it started tapering off, but I'm still hearing people say, you got to have 2 nitrate and 0.003 phosphate. And just stop with that. Stop with that. You're still going to have algae. It just, there's so many more factors.
The thing that bugs me about this is a little more subtle. It's the test is designed to tell you how much of those nitrate and phosphate is in the water. When it tests 0, guess how much it's in the water? 0. It doesn't matter if it's anywhere else, right? It's like I came up with 2 analogies because I love analogies. Because it's not how the test works. You can't say I'm testing for nitrate and it came up back 0, but there's a rock and there's nitrate in the rock. It doesn't, what is that even? It's not even sensical. It's, if you take your body temperature, you know, and it says 98, and then you go, well, but my body temperature is hotter. The temperature's dissipating into the air before the thermometer. It's like, yeah, okay, but that's not what we're testing. We're not, what are you doing? It's like saying my salinity is higher than what my refractometer reads because there's salt creep on the tank. No, it's not. Until the salt creep goes back into the tank, it's the same. So it's the same with the whatever's in the algae. You know, maybe they're making the argument that their algae. I don't even understand why are they saying this, Ben?
But
why
this statement's okay. You have an aquarium covered in hair algae. Test the water, 0 phosphate. And then I can say, okay, the water has 0 phosphate. But if I were to kill all that algae, I must have one hell of a phosphate problem after that. So it's just being sequestered. I wouldn't read the phosphate and say, that test isn't right. I mean, it is correct. It's reading what it's reading. But, and, you know, and that's why we say, you know, that's why I would say go through, do maintenance more often, physically remove that hair algae because it has sequestered the nutrient. It's acting like an ATS right into your tank, you know, so physically remove it. If you did something like fluconazole and killed it, you better start doing water changes more frequently because you just liberated a lot of nutrients in your tank.
I think it's funny that people will say this at the same time they'll say, you know, my ICP test came back and my anoium, you know, my buttfuckium is at 0.25. It's like, wait, the test, it's just the sloppy thinking. It made Scott O crazy too. It's the test is testing what it tests. To talk about that there's more of what the thing is testing somewhere else in the system that doesn't help you at all. And I think this probably fits into the idea of that lowering those levels just, it doesn't matter, right? There's probably a connection in there too.
I only care about manganese.
Manganese is one of the ones that I'll pay a little bit of attention to from time to time.
That's Scott's favorite.
He likes manganese?
Oh yes. Mainly just when I say it. I don't know why.
Manganese.
Nah. Strontium is one I don't care about.
I would really love to see the hobby or the people in the hobby get past so much of the nitrate phosphate thing.
Yeah.
It's not the biggest thing you gotta worry about.
I-
Because like you and I have beat this dead horse, Richard. You know, algae was on the planet before corals. It's just evolution wise, they can deal with lower. We beat this dead horse. You can bring nitrate and phosphate so low you fucking killed the corals, and the algae still laughing. Some form of algae is still laughing at you. You can bring it to infinitesimal. There's still some form of algae there. Like, bro, we can keep going. We've been doing this shit for millions of years.
I want my Magna talk to come out to be because and I've given that talk at a couple of places, 3 places already, and no one's come up and said, I think you're wrong. So I want the talk to come out so I can see people. If I'm wrong, I love being wrong. But I haven't had anybody challenge the thesis yet. So
We're scared.
And we're
They're
not saying like
they're scared you're gonna fucking you're our heavy.
yeah, you're gonna knock a motherfucker out. And no one's saying that super high nitrates or phosphates are okay, but it's just saying that's not your trigger to fight against algae, really. It's
Right.
those nutrients. You're not gonna get anywhere by tweaking those.
Right.
It's other stuff. You know, this is a touchy subject, but you know, elevating up your pH, or you know, concentrating on your alkalinity, or doing your regular water changes. It's more about, are the corals, it's almost like freshwater planted tanks. You're either going to provide the correct environment for those higher order plants, or you're going to be lazy and provide the correct environment for the nuisance algae. It's the balance between corals in your tank and nuisance algae that want to grow, and you do everything to tip the balance for the coral growth. And that itself will smother. Corals are going to use nitrates and phosphates.
Absolutely.
Those are growth building blocks. And you're certainly not going to help a coral out by dragging nitrate and phosphate to the barely testable. As that's shown that either causes, maybe this is anecdotal, but people are having fits with dinoflagellates and cyanobacteria because they're jerking around with nutrients. Make the fucking corals grow, and then nothing else matters.
Yeah.
Fucking
Dinoflagellates. And stop listening to every person in a freaking Facebook group about dinoflagellates. I'm sorry. Don't buy a UV. Don't buy silicates and dose it. Get a damn microscope off Amazon for $17.99. Figure out which ones you got and do the right thing.
We'll talk about that real quick, Tami.
Cow.
Talk about that real quick, because you know more about that than I do. The difference in the two dinoflagellates.
I've battled the large cell amphidium. I always say it wrong. Twice now. And the first thing I did was I went into a specific dinoflagellates Facebook group that I left, because I put my slides up there and I said, I want, some help just identifying this. You know, I just wanted to see what they said. And the first 5 comments, one from the owner of that group, it's Ostreopsis, get a UV. Here's a link to buy a UV, $300 UV. And I'm like, okay, but that's not right. And I totally, like, my comments were removed, I think, from that group, because I was like, you're wrong. And I tested him, I'm like, you're wrong. This is not Ostreopsis right here. This is large cell. Why are you telling me to buy a UV? And why do you have a link so readily available for some UV? What are you getting a payback for that? I mean, I'm not trying to be like conspiracy theorist, but everyone just so gung-ho about telling someone how to get rid of a problem, but they don't even know what the freaking problem is. They're like, well, this looks like this in a picture that I saw on Google. That's great. That's a picture. That's not a microscope. You can't see what the heck it really is. Just because it's a specific color looks like snot. I mean, everything looks like snot in a tank if it's dying or dead mass.
So what did you do for it?
The first time I dosed a shit ton of apocalypse pods. And because I had heard somebody say that there was a possibility that they ate dinoflagellates.
Hold up.
So I dosed them.
Are
yeah.
they fucking naming pods now? I cannot.
Yes.
I'm gonna be the old guy yelling at clouds. I can't fucking do this. They are naming pods now. I can't fucking do this.
Yes.
What kind of pods are apocalypse pods?
I
can't
cannot
fucking-
remember off the top of my head.
I'm gonna
but,
I'm gonna type and look this up because this is
I
gonna
quit.
make
I
this is
wanna-
gonna make me and Ben lose our fucking
I want to
mind.
win the lottery and I want to get the fuck away from the aquarium industry.
Well, I'm not saying that the apocalypse pods worked. This is what worked. I dosed like 3 or 4 bottles to the 40-gallon breeder. I turned, it was nighttime. I turned everything off on both tanks. I dosed all the apocalypse pods to that tank. The other tank, I just dosed a bunch of phytoplankton and pods just because it was time. I did it every 4 or 5 months because I was still just wanting to feed everything. And I went to bed and left the tanks completely without power for 12 hours. So both tanks went without power for 12 hours, and the tank with the dinoflagellates completely crashed.
So what, you woke up and then it
I
was
woke
like
up-
gone?
The tank was crashed, and
shit.
it was spotless. There wasn't a dinoflagellate to be found. There wasn't algae to be found. It
Wait, you said it was crashed, but you just meant the dinos were crashed?
knew I had a dead clownfish and a dead Tamini tang. My starry blenny, his name was John Bolton. He was completely fine, and my wrasse was completely fine. But yeah, the dinoflagellates and everything were gone. I turned the power back on, and it was just a wasteland. My 75 went without power for the same amount of time, and it was like nothing skipped a beat. It was completely healthy and happy. The fish woke up as soon as I turned the power back on, and they were like, all right, feed us. So that was the first time getting rid of the dinoflagellates. I crashed my tank. The second time, I decided to just for 4 months let green hair algae and cyanobacteria blanket the entire tank. It looked amazing. It looked like some sort of jungle of
Hellscape.
Yes, it was awesome.
Post-apocalyptic
Yeah, it just
Avatar
smothered.
world.
Yes, it did. And it smothered just everything. And after everything was completely coated in both, I just let it sit for another 2 months to
Were there
make sure
corals
that
in there?
no, I took all the corals out except for zoanthids and fireworks clove polyps.
You know what's sort of cool about that? You know, whatever that cyanobacteria was consuming, whatever the bryopsis or whatever's consuming, let it consume the fuck out of what's in the tank, and then physically remove it.
Yeah, that's what I did. So I went in once I felt that the dinoflagellates, because I kept pulling samples out of, I go in the sand bed, pull samples out, put it on the microscope. Once I saw no dinoflagellates in 4 or 5 samples from different spots in the tank, then I was like, all right. So I went in, I manually removed everything that I could. I threw a whole bunch of obviously I did a water change. I threw a whole bunch of fresh snails in there, and I just started cleaning everything. I ran Kimmy Clean, and then it was beautiful again. 3 months later, it was still beautiful.
Right away with coral flesh.
Yes. I put some more corals back in there. I put a small torch in there that did fabulously. I put some other LPS in there, just random LPS I picked out of my friend's coral tank at his LFS. I just I need some test corals, and I just grabbed stuff and went home.
Honestly, in that situation, you just need surface area of coral flesh doing its thing.
Yeah. And I mean, all the zoanthids were perfectly fine. The fireworks clove polyps were freaking happy as could be. So they didn't
All right,
care.
so apocalypse pods are apocyclops. So they just, I don't know why. I'm with you. Just call them apocyclops.
What I'm going to get weird about is when people are like branding or marketing a fucking animal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't.
All right,
Yeah.
Tami, what's your best piece of advice for a new reef keeper?
Watch Reef Beef over and over again. Read every single article that you can find that Richard Ross has posted anywhere. Watch like 3 of Mark Levinson's videos. He's kind of cute. He gives some good advice, but don't listen to him. Just watch his tank. And shop at saltwateraquarium.com.
Oh, yes. You hear that, Kenneth?
Right
Listen,
arm. Tami, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate all the love and support you've given us over the time we've known you, and we appreciate your time to come and hang out on the show with us.
We love
Anytime.
you,
I
OG
appreciate you
Beefer.
guys. Love you, man.
Thanks,
Don't get
baby.
in trouble. Bye.
Bye.
So that was our show, and thank you to the Beefers. Thank you to Richard. Thank you to Tami. Thank you to Snowman. And thank you again to the Beefers. We really appreciate y'all watching this. And, you know, we can't say thank you enough. I hope you enjoyed the show, and put it down in the comments, you know, maybe ideas for future shows, or say Ben looks like a giraffe. I don't know.
Yeah. And if you disagree with us, let us know, because we love to be wrong. This episode of Reef is hosted by Rich Ross and Ben Johnson, produced by Rich Ross and Snowman, directed and edited by Snowman, and thanks to our Prime and Gold level beefers, Rich P, Scott O, Scott C, Corey, Pedro, and Ryan H. Hey, bad words, go away, run!
My pronouns are yes, daddy, and please, daddy.
You want me to just launch into something?
What do you mean?
Like do the boiler thing?
I don't give a fuck what you do.
Okay. I don't give a fuck what you do.
What the? Oh, I gotta fix this.
If you have not taught your children the word fuck yet, and its many uses, then probably listen to this in a personal type of way, because we talk like we're at a bar or something, and we're just killing.
That fucking fucker's fucking fucked.
Yeah.
Teach that to your kids right now.
Fucking fuckers.
Right now.
Fucked.
Fucking
Cool.
fucked.
I mean, it's sort of goofy. You don't have to put it that way, but you know, you
Fucking-
fucked to make those people.
Fucking fucked.
One time, my dad and I were mountain biking around the inner guts of New Orleans, and we went by a shop that was like open to the street, and there was a shirt hanging on a rack that said, "Fuck you, you fucking fuck." And I should have bought it, but I didn't. I didn't get off my mountain bike because the sewer smelled like vomit, but that's indicative of New Orleans.
Because look, I'll show you just real quick.
But cameras are so sensitive to
Watch
sucking
watch the tanks.
I'm watching. Whoa, washed
Right?
out.
That's 100%.
Washed out. That's funny. 25 on this camera, 25% looks more attractive.
Here it goes.
Yeah, it looks better.
Crazy, man. Okay.
Isn't that the camera's sensitivity to sucking in light particles into its
No,
face hole?
it's the way the Lord interacts with the material of the universe.
It's the way that Jesus Christ brings
No,
it to your
The
face hole.
Lord.
The Lord.
I learned
Hello,
it from
Reef.
watching you, Dad.
Christ.
I learned it from watching you.
I learned it from watching you, all right?
Go ahead,
Please
start
visit
now.
saltwateraquarium.com and ignore
Oh
these
my
two.
Fucking Christ.
Okay. Go on. Go ahead, Ben. We're ready.
In 1, 2.
Oh, wait.
Three.
Hold on. Nothing. Cool. There's someone creeping behind you, Tami.
Is that
Yeah.
a green horse?
Now they're behind the curtain. Back out. They're gone now. Now they're there.
I like it. Wait, that's not Joanne, is it?
No, it isn't.
That's fantastic.
That is
Dude,
the
I've
zombie
never seen a
horse.
green one.
That's the dancing zombie horse. Bye, zombie horse.
Love
Hi,
it.
zombie horse.
Hey, hard stop. Richard, can you keep track of time for me?
I already am.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And then where were we? Before that damn dancing horse came in. Oh, and so for the atheist stuff,
Oh, Kiki.
Yeah. Kitty
Big
kitty.
Kiki. God damn.
Yeah,
Is
this
that a
is
big
Yoda.
cat?
Yeah, he's 15 pounds.
Holy
This
shit.
is